Where's my 40 at, man?
Duval County, 904 in this bitch, huh?
Yeah, man.
Put your hands up. Yeah, you feel that bass? Turn it up. It's that dirty South punk rock. Dirty South. Dirty South, yeah. Throw it up. Where you from, nigga? Where you from? Duval. You can get caught in the club. Go with your hood, throw it up in the club. Or you can get stomped in the club for a dub and I stop. Shut it, we don't give a fuck, yeah. But you don't want no problem. You don't want no problem. You don't want no problems with me. Oh, we baby 50 deep. Hold on back, hold on back. Man, fuck that nigga. Hold on back, hold on back. Man, fuck that nigga. Hold on back, hold on back. Fuck that, fuck that. DJ Dirty Ski. When I reach for the herb, nigga, what's the word? Bitch, nigga better recognize real G's down the ride. Dirty South, I'ma rep it till I die. And I ain't even gotta tell her what my name is. I just walk right in like I'm famous. Get out the way, bitch. I'm heading straight to the VIP where I'ma drink everything for free. Damn right. You can get caught in the club. Roll with your hood, throw it up in the club. Or you can get stomped in the club for a dub and I stop. Shut it, we don't give a fuck, yeah. But you don't want no problem. You don't want no problem. You don't want no problems with me. Oh, we baby 50 deep. When I say whole wheat, y'all say bread. Whole wheat, bread. Whole wheat, bread. When I say whole wheat, y'all say bread. Whole wheat, bread. Whole wheat. Y'all motherfuckers don't want no problems, nigga. Whole wheat bread, bitch. Southside Duval County. It's that dirty South punk rock shit. Y'all gonna have to try extra hard to get up in this punk shit now, nigga. Y'all niggas don't want no problems, nigga. Shut up. Back the fuck up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's the Altered Perspective, episode 232. We're back again on another lovely day, another lovely, lovely Sunday. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate all of you being here. Please like the stream. Liking the stream is very helpful, so please click on that like button to like the stream. $2 Streamlabs will make Jared giggle. If you want to do that, check that out. Jared giggles for $2. He goes, so yeah, if you want to check that out, you can do that. How's everybody doing? This is the last tap show of this month, the month of October, in the year of our Lord 2023. So after a couple hours here live, I'm going to switch over to Patreon because I got to do my monthly Patreon show. I still have a couple of patrons that help me out by chucking me some money every month for this channel. So I will be doing a show for them. Even if there's only like 3 of them watching, I will do a multi-hour show tonight for them as well. And we'll get to that later just in case any of you want to join in and watch. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I would play on YouTube, but it would get me copyright claimed. So I do suspect someone is false flagging my channels because I had an old DP episode get taken down recently, like a really old one, like in the double digits. And it got taken down for like harassment or bullying or something, but it doesn't say what it actually, like what happened on it or what they consider it to be harassment or bullying. And I didn't get a strike or anything. It was just like, oh, this video is going to get taken down. So I I don't know what that's all about, but I doubt it was just a random thing. I think people are looking to someone is looking for ways to exploit the system. I doubt it's the manatee. It's probably like, I don't know. There's other people that we've talked about recently who have had who have been known to also do similar things, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think Jared's smart enough to know how to do it right. No, I don't think it's... Come on, guys. This isn't that difficult. There is someone that we've been talking about a lot recently who has actually taken credit for having channels taken down in the past. So... And who was ultra paranoid about getting his own channel taken down. So I'll just leave it there. Yeah, everybody liked the stream. We're going to watch as much as we can of Cenk. Because, okay, Cenk Uyger is on Tim Pool's show now. So he's making the rounds. He was on Piers Morgan. He's doing this I'm running for president thing, even though he knows... There's like zero chance, basically zero chance of this ever happening. Zero chance of him ever winning a presidency, but he's doing it anyway. So that's, we're going to check this out and see how Cenk and Tim Pool get along. And while I was watching this stream, I saw Sturgis in the chat saying, Trump is America first. Sturgis is just like a fucking parrot of whatever he hears. And he just said, like, oh, Trump's America first. Okay, how? How is he America first? Is he because he says he is and everyone says he is, or is he actually? Or is he Trump first? I think Trump is Donald Trump first. All right. Yeah, let's see what this is all about. All right. We'll get to the beginning here.
Our fault. Meaning the left's fault. Because I
really appreciate you coming down, you know, because we sent out a bunch of invites all over the place. We rarely get liberals and people from the left. They make up maybe like 5 to 10% of the people who come out. So, but actually, for this show, we've been doing the Culture War Fridays,
and I'm gonna pour myself a little wine
all across this.
So I'm gonna drink some of this, but then by the end of the private show, I will have drank 2 bottles of wine, and I will be drunk.
Spectrum, people wanting to come in. I guess it's because it's not.
These are my last.
News, right. It's just we can talk.
I'm actually not going to drink through the beginning of November up until like I think like Thanksgiving. I'll have some drinks. So from November 1st all the way to Thanksgiving, no drinking for me. So this is kind of my last hurrah before I go on this tolerance break.
About whatever.
Yeah, no, I come bearing revolution, and so there's a reason why I came, But what you're pointing out is actually important.
He said, I come bearing revolution. It's kind of corny, but it's interesting, but it sounds kind of corny.
Support Ben. You know what I'm saying, bro.
I know what you're saying, bro. You know what I'm saying, bro? Oh, I'm getting drunk today.
And I think it's actually been harmful to the left that we have not engaged as much. And so... I think, like, for example, we'll get into it probably later as to like our differences, and there's plenty of differences for sure. And then I think that I would cue the audience to look out though for the similarities, because there's so much that we disagree on, but there's also a ton that we agree on. And I don't mean necessarily me and you, but we'll find out but I bet we do, right?
I think we agree more than we disagree.
Yeah, and I think that the American people agree a lot more than they realize, and partly because the media is driving division. And And so, but one of the things we'll probably get into is audience capture, and then a new thing that happened, in my opinion, which is guest capture, and that's kind of our fault, meaning the left's fault, because I think Joe Rogan got guest captured. I think Bill Maher did to some degree, maybe you did. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but that's because they have nonstop right wingers on, in my opinion. But at the same time, the left doesn't love to go on shows that are right wing and platforming and all that BS. So can I curse on this show?
It's up to you. I guess we try not to. I know we try to be family friendly. But,
okay, all right.
whatever.
God bless. Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I think you're right. To varying degrees.
I like how Tim Pool was like, "Nope, you can't have a potty mouth, Cenk Uyger."
Some are more resistant to capture than others, to their own detriment.
I wonder how many beanies Tim owns. Does he just have like a dresser full of beanies? I only see him wear the black beanie too. I want to see him mix it up a little bit.
And but this has been something we've talked about when and I agree on the Joe Rogan thing too. People are getting they get attacked for going on Rogan. They get I don't go on. He's far right. Why are you doing it? I mean, there are even people who are saying it's a bad idea to have you on the show, but that's the most laughable thing in the world because we try to get as many people as possible across the spectrum. And the strange thing about it is when people will say that like Timcast IRL is far right or whatever, or my favorite was when Hassan called Ian Crossland a conservative. All right, do you know who Ian is? I mean, he's a hippy-dippy crystal weirdo who doesn't like Donald Trump. And
Good for him.
Well, we don't really know how to describe Ian other than he's just like a wild card kind of guy who doesn't follow the news in the same way as everybody in the culture war. And so he's
okay. Now they're showing the empty chair. I love it. This is Barack Obama on the show. See, Tim says they get liberals on all the time. Do you remember when Clint Eastwood debated Barack Obama sitting in the chair, but he was invisible? Oh, maybe this is John Cena.
Often pushing back on us in very strange ways, such as he said Palestine should be the 51st state of the United States, which is a strong departure from anyone in politics. But then he'll get called conservative just by...
Let's make Palestine the 54th state. How about that? Let's add a few others first.
Virtue of being on the show with us.
Okay, well, let's get into it because I get it. And but I've kind of changed my mind on something there. And that's partly why I say come bearing revolution.
All right.
Because, look, the thing that really set me off... and I thought that you were in that group, but I'm now beginning to change my mind a little bit on it, is that this is an old tried and true tactic of the right wing, is that they get people who used to be left wing, and then they turn them into turncoats, they pay them a lot of money, and then they trot them out there like hostage videos, and then Tulsi Gabbard... And Tulsi Gabbard will come and go, I am a left winger, but the right wing is right about everything. The right wing is right. The right wing is right. And then they love it. And they just all like this orgiastic reaction of like, oh, even the left wingers agree with us. We're so right. And it's like a trick that works every time with the right.
I wonder how Cenk got that huge scar across his forehead. I don't know if he's ever talked about that or if it's just like a birthmark or what.
Right wing audience.
It looks like a burn or like a scar. Like. It looks like someone like branded his forehead.
It's super
orgiastic. I do like that word. Is that a Cenkism?
Frustrating.
They do it with former conservatives and Joe Biden.
Well, yeah, I think you know what? His head scar might be from his days as a pro wrestler. He could have been blading. He could have bladed himself.
Oh, no, that's a little different. I hear what you're saying. The reason why I say it's a little different is because the former conservative...
Here's another serious question. Over the years, Cenk's hair on his head has gotten grayer and grayer, but his eyebrows just stay like very dark. Does he dye his eyebrows? Or is it just like, is it one of those cases where like your eyebrows are the last thing to go gray? I don't know.
Are almost all corporatists.
Yeah.
and the Democratic Party is also corporatist.
Lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're, changing their actual ideology, right?
Yep. They're pro-war. They're pro-corporate. They're pro-establishment power, pro-revolving door politics, and
pro-pharma, pro-big oil, pro everything that's donors, multinational corporations, etc. Right?
The first time I ever heard the Young Turks, it was years ago. Like, God, who knows? 2005, 2006. I don't know if they still have this, but on iTunes back in like 2005, 2006, they had a bunch of like streaming audio channels, and one of them was the Young Turks. They had like a streaming audio channel on iTunes that would just play their shit all day. And then when I first moved to Albuquerque had like a progressive talk radio station that was kind of like supposed to be the answer to the Rush Limbaughs of the world. And the Young Turks had their show syndicated on that radio station. So I had known about the Young Turks for like a really long time. And Tom Hartman, he was on that radio station too. It was Air America Radio, if you guys had ever heard of that. It was like they tried to do a network of left-wing radio. Air America Radio. And I used to listen to that because it was around. I don't know if it exists anymore. I don't think it does. But it did, like, in my early years living in Albuquerque, and I used to listen to that, like, when I would commute to work in the morning and shit. It had Ring of Fire, which I think is, like, a YouTube channel now, which is weird because RFK Jr. used to be one of the hosts for Ring of Fire. I don't know. You guys can check it out. But anyway, I went off on a tangent there.
So whereas like Tulsi is a liar, like she was,
Really?
yeah, of course. She was, first of all, to be fair to her, in a deeply ironic way, she was always a secret right winger, but she was lying that she was a progressive. And so the first person to suss that out was Anna, and Anna did a bunch of stories about how
I think Hillary called Tulsi like a Russian agent or something.
Tulsi was a right winger back when she was pretending to be progressive and running for president in 2020. And people,
what is that? Is that like the gay marriage stuff or something?
That stuff. She's always hated Muslims. Like there's like, she's like, I'm all for peace. Unless it's Muslims, then let's bomb them. Drone strikes.
I don't think she says that. I've never heard Tulsi Gabbard say that.
And troops and go get the goddamn Muslim. I mean, they just all happen to be Muslim countries, and I just happen to be a Hindu nationalist. But it's just random.
Didn't
Okay.
she go to Syria? She was trying to.
Yeah, she went to Syria, met with
for
Bashar
peace,
al-Assad. Nah, I don't know what she's doing, but
Okay, well, you don't know what she's doing then. Like, I'm not a fan. I mean, like, she should mostly be ignored. She's a pundit now. She's not even an active politician anymore, right? She's not going to get elected anywhere. And now she's like, what? She works for Fox News or something?
she's not a progressive. So her going out there and pretending to be a progressive and doing right-wing
She might be a war hawk. Isn't she like a military person?
propaganda gets under every skin I have. Okay, so
Tulsi didn't stand a chance, 4 years ago. She's not going to stand a chance in the in politics again. I don't see it. She got her name in there long enough to where people want to hire her to be a talking head for their fake cable news garbage.
but now that gig is up, right? Or that jig is up. Like her, Glenn Greenwald, a couple others. I don't want to start the drama, right? But like,
You think even Glenn is
oh yeah,
a liar?
Yeah. So look, here's the thing. Again, to be fair to both Tulsi and Glenn, they had right-wing tendencies throughout. And Glenn used to do it in a principled way. So I remember we had a debate on Young Turks between Glenn Greenwald and Larry Lessig, who's like a legendary campaign finance reform professor and leader and godfather of the movement. It was right after Citizens United, and because we've been around forever. and Lessig was saying that Citizens United was decided wrong, and Glenn was arguing that it was decided right. So Glenn was in favor of money in politics. Now, he'll probably say some BS about, well, no, I'm not in favor of money in politics. I just think that politics should drown in it, and that it's like free speech, that it's awesome that all these companies bribe all of our politicians. But hey, free speech. So whatever that was, but back then, I mean, like, that was out of actual principle, whatever, principle he thinks he has. So there was like a little right-wing tinge to him even back then. But now it's so over the top. Everything is, Tucker Carlson is so right. I'm a liberal, and I think Tucker Carlson is the most right person in the.
Okay, he like strawmans a lot of people though. He does this weird where he's like impersonating someone, and the things he says isn't exactly what those people said. It's him paraphrasing it in an unflattering way with a voice like this. Tulsi Gabbard talk like this. She wants to bomb Middle Easterners, like that.
World, like Glenn, like, we don't see it. Come on, brother.
Let's define left and right. How would you describe it?
So, but that's where we're getting into now the new world. Okay, yeah. So that frustrated me about Rogan and Maher and you as well. Like, I thought, here we go again, pretending to be left wing and then saying things that are all right wing and going, see, the right wing's right about everything, right? But I now think a little bit differently about you three, okay? I think Tulsi and Glenn are still just playing a scam, total utter scam, okay? But it's, Dave Rubin is a classic example of that scam. He also had like right-wing tendencies a little bit. He like loves, anything that's brutal on the Israeli side. He's like, occupation is great. Bombing the hell out of the Palestinians is awesome. So he always believed that even when he was pretending to be a liberal. So, but for like Dave, there's nothing left about him. Nothing. And no one thinks that Dave Rubin is left anymore. And as long as you don't think he's a left-winger and you're not running that scam and you just say, okay, you're a right-winger, then I have no problems. Then let's debate. It's no big deal, right?
I think even he calls himself conservative now.
Yeah, he gave up that shtick.
But what is left and right in your view?
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that through the answer of you, Rogan, and Maher, that new group, okay? So Maher's not a right-winger. Like, I get it, right? But does he have right-wing views? Yeah, he does, right? So he's terrible on Israel and on Muslims, etc. He's in the Sam Harris group, and there's a bunch of other things he's terrible on. But he's right about a lot of other things, right? He's right about Biden. He's right about at least half the topics. And Rogan is genuine. Like, as much as like I get frustrated by
the amount of money that you get paid to be president isn't worth the job of being president. Most people who get elected president are already rich before they take the job, and like the extra money, a lot of people just like donate it. I would never, like, literally, you'd have to pay me like $10 million a year to be president. Like, I need some real money to do that job. What is it, like 250? Is it what? It's like $250,000 a year or something like that. It's like $250,000 a year, which sounds like a lot, but think about what the job is. Then it's like 200,000. It's something like that. It's like a good amount of money for a normal person doing a normal job. But being the president and getting like getting shit on and blamed for anything going wrong, whether it's in your is it 400,000 now? See, I'm old. I remember when I was a kid and it was like less than that. I mean, that's a lot of money, but it's still not like for what that job is and what you have to go through to get it and have it and keep it. And you're just like relentlessly attacked. Like, anything you can be attacked for is amplified and used against you. It's just the worst. I would rather, I would have to like really get paid to want to be president. It's just, did you know that when the president calls for a nuclear strike, not even like the generals in the Pentagon can override that? Like, literally, they can be like, why do you want to, like, it has to happen, though. Like, the laws are very clear. A president can order a nuclear strike and no one can stop it from happening. which is crazy. Yeah, yes. Yeah, there's the nuclear football, which is what the president has, and there's a series of authorization codes that only the president is supposed to have access to, and as long as they can prove that they're the president and that they know the protocol and the codes, the nukes can be launched at a moment's notice.
Rogan, and I think there was audience capture and guest capture and all of that. He genuinely means it. And
that's like when people are like, "Oh, the president doesn't really have that much power." I'm like, they have the final say on all military action. Like, they control the most powerful military on Earth, and that includes all the nukes and everything else associated with that. No one can override it. Well, no one who's following the actual rules can override it. There'd have to be some kind of like mutiny to stop that.
Part of the reason is he was already rich. He didn't need to do Dave Rubin-like scams to get rich, right? So he's just has his own opinions. He's sharing them. They're leaning more right-wing. But
he's shitting on Dave Rubin. I love it.
As long as it's genuine, I got no problem with it, right?
The more...
So Cenk basically just said Dave Rubin... not genuine. He did it for the money. It's funny because Dave Rubin was on Drunken Peasants like right before his hard turn to the right, when he was still kind of like, yeah, I'm a liberal, guys. I'm gay and I'm Jewish.
The more the left refuses to come on, the more you get conservative, right, libertarian, or post-liberal, whatever you want to call it. And then the more your views are going to be shaped by those that are surrounding you. You know, you are the summation of the 5 people that surround you.
100% right, Tim. So, like I say this at the very beginning of my book, we have hardware and software, right, in our heads. So our hardware is our DNA and what we're predisposed to. So maybe later we can get into my hardware, which is complicated because I'm generally very progressive in my nature. But there are parts of me that are conservative, that like, I don't like change. I like staying in the same house. I'm
surprised Dave Rubin hasn't eventually pretended to be straight. Like, he used to do the atheism thing, and that kind of shit for a little while, but now he's religious. He's changed everything except for the gay thing.
I like driving on the same road. Et cetera, et cetera. So the hardware is a little complicated, but the software is the interesting part. Software is where you get all of your ideas from. And where do you get them from? You get them from family, friends, media, your surroundings, et cetera. The bubble that you're in. Yeah. And we're all in a bubble. And I try to get the left to understand, brothers and sisters, the right wing's not the only people in the bubble. Like, we think MAGA's nuts, right? We think like the election being stolen is the craziest thing that anybody's ever thought, and I believe that 100%. Okay, so they're in their bubble in our opinion, but we have our own bubble, right? And our own bubble has some things that aren't true in it either, and I can give you some prominent examples in a minute. But now the new thing that's happening, getting to the core of your original question, Tim, is that now I sense a disturbance in the force. And before, everything was left-wing or right-wing, and it isn't that anymore. Especially in the last 6 months or so, I have started to see hosts who are no longer easy to define, okay, that have opinions that are in different parts of the spectrum. And then the best part of it is I started to see the audience, in left-wing audiences, right-wing audiences, middle audiences, starting to have opinions all over the political spectrum. And that's actually a beautiful thing.
I don't see that. I see it like, we're on this side, we believe this. If you believe one thing that other side believes in, you're just evil. You're on their side, basically. So I don't see a spectrum. I see polarization to the extent of which we've never seen. That's what I see now. It's one of the most depressing things that I kind of remind myself of constantly. I don't believe I don't see more independent thinking. I see more lockstep, dogmatic, my team versus your team kind of thinking.
And the reason that that's great is because these preset ideologies.
Crispin, wah. That's a great name. Crispin, CHRISPIN space WAH, WAAH. That's awesome. Crispin WAH.
Just believing in them is irrational. Like, so what? We're supposed to be either left wing or right wing, and that comes with like 80 different policy points on each side. And somehow magically, we're supposed to agree with all 80 on the right wing side or all 80 on the left wing side. And that's not how humanity works, right? We wind up in different parts of the spectrum for different issues.
So I've noticed this too, because we've had guests on that I would probably describe as tribalist left, and they hold default positions you expect to hear on Twitter, on X or whatever, or in the news. And then we'll have...
My skin crawls every time I hear Twitter. Like, X just is a bad name. Okay? It's just a bad name because now when someone says X, they're going to have to clarify Twitter because X is such a confusing name. It's just a random letter of the alphabet. Hey, have you seen that thing on X? If someone said it to me, I'd be like, what? What, you mean Twitter? Because it's just, if they would have given it like a new clever name, I'd be like, oh, okay, they just renamed it. But X is such bad branding.
People like Destiny on, and Destiny will give a well thought out, reasonable response.
He should have changed the name of Twitter to MySpace. Think of if he would have done that. That would have been like mind blowing. Like if over, because I remember like the night my phone switched from having a Twitter app to having an X app. If it had just switched to MySpace, and like all of a sudden your Twitter account is now your MySpace account in 2023, that'd have been insane. Oh, that's another thing. Like, what if you go in to type X in your search bar, and it auto populates X videos every time,
addressing the points that were made and have a real conversation about where positions are. The fascinating thing, I'm a big fan of Destiny. He's great. And he'll passionately say, Trump sucks. Like, here's the problems with Trump. And then we'll have other conversations about culture war issues.
Yeah, I don't care if people don't like him. I like Destiny. Like, I don't know him that well. Like, I've talked to him before, but I don't actually know him. But I actually like Destiny. I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but I like Destiny. Like, he's fine with me. You know. I think he's smart. I think he can talk really fast. He says a lot of things that I don't agree with. But I don't know. I like listening to him.
He's like, oh yeah, that's totally true and correct, right? When he said he got in
I
trouble
feel like Destiny's honest about how he is and what he thinks. And I can appreciate that.
This Kyle Rittenhouse was the clearest cut case of self-defense he had ever seen.
Yeah.
And so, that's taboo in the tribal aspect of it. But, I see Destiny as someone, he's just a guy who sees things and forms a moral framework around news, facts, and information. We might disagree on some things, but that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think Destiny is a great example of it, actually. And I was on his show, too. And so then, even though he's to the right of me on a lot of cultural issues, so this is where the spectrum bends. It doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
But people in D.C. would say he's to the left of me on Democratic Party issues. Like even though I'm running for president on the Democratic side, cenkforamerica.com, but I think Democratic leadership is awful.
Yeah, I think it's so dumb to run for president as a Democrat when there's a Democrat president coming up for re-election. I don't understand that. I don't remember hearing such like about so many people running. Like the last time Obama was running for re-election, I didn't hear about all these new Democrats running against Obama. I realize Obama was a younger guy and Biden's super old and people think he's feeble. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this election. I'm I'm just I really don't know. I'm freaked out by it. Because I'm looking at Biden and I'm like, he's gonna die like any day now. Like, he's getting so old, but he wants to be president for another like 3 years, or I'm sorry, 5 years. I don't understand. He should. We're doomed.
And Destiny is like such an interesting character and a bit of an avatar for the new.
If Biden kicks the bucket, Kamala's going to swoop in if it happens after the election.
Paradigm, because he will not.
Not a lot of time for Newsom to swoop in, by the way. Like, Newsom should swoop in now. He shouldn't be waiting to see if Biden dies. Like, that shouldn't be the plan. That's a bad plan. It's unpredictable.
Agree with the orthodoxy of some of the left, but then he loves Biden, and I think it's hilarious. Like he's genuine about it, so I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
I hate how people need like a nomination from a party. I wish that would just go away. Like, because Trump obviously doesn't get along with a lot of the Republicans, and a lot of the Republicans just want him to go away. I wish he didn't need the Republicans and he could just run on his own. Republicans could pick whoever the fuck they want. And I wish, like, Biden can run again if he wants, but Newsom should be able to run now if he wants to. Anybody else who wants to run for president should be able to run. Fuck this primary stuff. Like, let's start polling people, and the people who are doing good in the polls can be in the debates, and then we'll whittle them away between now and election day. I don't like this, like, the parties actually decide who's actually even in the running to be president. You know, they decide ultimately.
Right.
Remember when they said that Kamala Harris was to the left of Bernie Sanders?
Yeah. And then, by the way, then Trump said that she was a Marxist and a communist.
Right.
Well, let's make up our minds.
What they were really saying was that she does not compromise with Republicans. So her voting record is almost more aligned with Democrat Party politics, whereas Bernie Sanders was willing to compromise with anybody to get a bill through, which shows, in my opinion, more reasonable behavior. But then the media narrative is because she's voted without Republicans, she's more left, which is like literally makes no sense.
No, that's a great point, because they actually do that to progressives all the time.
Someone needs to talk Joe Biden into not running again before. Someone needs to talk Joe Biden into running or into not running again before the Republicans announce their nominee officially, which will probably be after Super Tuesday next year. So somebody gotta do something. Either that, I mean, what will happen if Biden kicks the bucket before? See, Newsom can't do shit. Your theory about Newsom, here's the thing. If Biden kicked the bucket before the election, that means President Kamala Harris will be running. Because you said running against the incumbent is political suicide. Well, Kamala would be the incumbent. She would be the new president. And she would just run, more than likely. Right? So, I don't know. I'm terrified to see what happens. I don't know. I saw what 4 years of Trump was like, and I'm seeing 4 years of Biden. Lots of bad shit going down.
The time. That's mainstream media trick 101. Bernie Sanders is not a real Democrat. Well, but wait a minute. What does a real Democrat mean?
It's the moment Biden is pronounced dead, Kamala Harris is sworn in as president. That's how this works. The chain of command is so quick like that. That's exactly what would happen. And then we'd already had we're set up where we have an incumbent no matter what, unless it's an election after an 8-year presidency. That's the only time usually that we don't have an incumbent. If Biden dies, Newsom's going to have to try to primary Kamala Harris. Biden would have to say, I'm not running, but I'm going to finish my term. Then anybody could run. But then they would have had to have already started this process. So what's going to happen is if Biden kicks the bucket, Kamala's just going to be president. Oh, no. Dude, no. What makes you think Kamala Harris would step down? What makes you think Kamala Harris gets sworn in as the first woman president in the United States a year away from the next election? You think she's just going to step down? She doesn't have to, for one thing. And honestly, something like that, like the tragic death of a president, which we haven't actually. I know he's old and everything, but there's like a period of national mourning when something like that happens, and we haven't had a president die in office in a long time. I feel like something like that might actually even help her in the polls. I don't know. But I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying this since before Biden got elected, that I could see Biden passing it over to Kamala and not having a second term. He could do that voluntarily. He could resign now and give it to Kamala, or he could ride out the rest of his term, and then he would have to announce it, and then Kamala would have to run and everyone else. And then or he can run, and then who knows what would happen. I mean, I mean, there's going to be a really good chance of a President Kamala if Biden wins a second term, too.
The Democrats used to be the party of FDR, and so it meant Social Security and LBJ, Medicare and civil rights.
Feels like we're fucked.
Yeah, it's something. It's hard to feel that youthful optimism, Everyone, please like the stream if you haven't already. We got 90 people watching right now. We only got 40 likes. That's less than half. Let's hit it. So tonight, I'm going to do my private show. I'm going to be really wasted. It's going to be a fun time. I've got a whole bunch of videos, like a whole bunch of stuff planned for tonight. And tonight, I am actually offering a special deal on my Patreon, because normally my Patreon private shows are for the $5 level. And I appreciate all of the $5 patrons that keep it riding for me. Today, I am actually going to offer it to everyone at the $1 level. So everyone who wants to sign up at the $1 level, I'm not going to do this again for quite a while, but I thought it might bring some of you people in to hang out tonight. So if you go here, that's my Patreon. I have it posted right now. I'm not going to go do the show yet. I still have like an hour or so before I go do it. But it's at the $1 level. $1, and trust me, I don't even get to keep that whole dollar. I'm making pennies. I'm making pennies off of this shit. Oh, you just joined? Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you joining. And if you want to take it down to $1, I understand too. But I appreciate it. But those of you who are $5 patrons, trust me, I'm just trying to bring in more people. When they see how much fun we have, then we can, maybe you'll move your pledge up to $5 next time. That's why I'm doing it. Just tonight. I got some stuff, but I'll teach you guys a little later about what I'm gonna do on it and everything. I appreciate all of you guys, though. That's why I keep doing it. That's why I'm able to keep doing it.
Voting rights and all these progressive policy positions, war on poverty, etc. And Bernie Sanders.
It is almost more like 50 cents after the after all the fees that get taken out and everything. It is like probably like 65, 70 cents or something like that.
Sanders represents that infinitely better than Kamala Harris or Joe Biden.
Because Patreon takes a fee out of it and then PayPal takes a fee out of it. So it's way less. You know what? If you want to give me a channel membership, sure. Why the fuck not? For tonight's show, definitely. So, you know what? I'll post it for the channel members to see too. Let me do that right now. I didn't post it there before, but I'll do it right now. For those of you who want to be a channel member, I have to post it on my community tab. And then those of you who are members, you can see this shit. So let me see here. I have the give me 1 second here. Sorry, I'm going to play
But
this.
the Democratic Party's become corrupted now, and so they vote for things that are not left-wing at all, that are just corporatist. And then the media comes in, which is corporate media, and they go, the corporate positions are the Democratic positions. These FDR positions are terrible right-wing positions. You're like, no, you're making up things that are weird and ridiculous, and that's partly why mainstream media lost all credibility. Claiming that Kamala Harris is further left than Bernie Sanders, you'd have to be in an institution to believe that. But that is how but they're tricky, they're liars. So they don't say Kamala Harris is more left-wing than Bernie Sanders. They say Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat.
Yeah,
and it cues the Democratic voters to think he's a Republican because he's not a Democrat, when in reality he's further left than the Democrat.
All right, I posted it now. If you join at the lowest membership available on the members category, then yes, you can also watch the private show tonight. It's just going to be me getting really drunk watching a lot of like copyrighted videos, honestly. I'll also take requests because it's usually a small crowd. The last time I probably only had like 4 people watching. So I'm hoping to get more people in tonight. You can sign up. Please help support me. Patreon.com/BenPie. Patreon.com/BenPie. Or you can become a channel member. And I also have a subscribe star. So
the media knows that trick, but they go, technically, I didn't say he wasn't left-wing. I said he wasn't a Democrat. Technically, he's not.
Well, I think Trump and Bernie caused this fracture in 2015 into 16. Bernie was too far left, and they could not let him gain popularity in the party. They could not let him win the nomination. It was a meteoric rise. Donald Trump was called by Vox.com a moderate Republican. And he was actually taking more moderate, even right-leaning Democrat positions to try and generate mass appeal, resulting in the Democrats having to oppose whatever it is Trump was suggesting, and then creating this weird amalgam of neocons and neoliberals taking corporate establishment positions, which was then the left.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to... We try to have that... I have this debate very often with people on the right when they say leftists hate guns. And I'm like, no, the left, they like guns. Liberals want gun control. There's a distinction there, but the media will only give you one narrative, and they try to lump everyone.
You can still like guns and want gun control. Gun control just means controlling them.
in the same categories.
Yeah, so the phenomenon you described about Trump and opposing Trump is, I think, 95% right, and it really saddens me, sickens me that the Democratic Party has been taken over by neoliberals and neocons. And I mean, just look at MSNBC; it's wall to wall former Republicans.
And intelligence officials.
And generals and former Republican congressmen. I mean, Nicole Wallace is celebrated. Like in D.C., she's the belle of the ball. Oh, Nicole Wallace, Trump resistor extraordinaire. Her job was very literally to be the mouthpiece for George W. Bush and Dick Cheney as they were starting the most disastrous wars in U.S. history.
How does George W. Bush... How has he recovered his favorability among Democrat voters? You've seen the polls, right?
Yeah. And that's what drives me crazy. So Liz Cheney opposes Trump. I think it's courageous, and I appreciate her for it. But I disagree with everything else that she says and does. You don't have to lose your mind and be like, Liz Cheney's now a good guy, and I love Liz Cheney. No. If you give her an opportunity, she'd start the next war in about half a second. And then then Nancy Pelosi hugging Dick Cheney. No, Dick Cheney is prime evil. So you don't hug Darth Vader because he's against some other Sith Lord.
Well,
You don't hug Darth Vader because he's against some other Sith Lord. Yeah, it's the enemy of your enemy is not your friend.
Let's talk about you running for president.
Yeah.
Can you be president? The argument being that you were not born in the United States.
And this is something I don't necessarily think Cenk is right on. And I didn't even think of it when I heard he was running for president. I didn't think Cenk wasn't born in the U.S. and neither were his parents. And when he was born, I don't believe either of his parents were actual U.S. citizens. So I don't know. It would have to go to court. I don't know if Cenk is actually eligible to run for president.
Your parents were not American citizens when you were born?
No, they weren't, actually. I saw you said that. I appreciate that you were looking for... you were almost looking out for me, but they weren't. No, I'm just
I just want to know. A lot of people on Twitter were saying that you're... the first thing that happened was we talked about your campaign. The first thing I said was, if it was between like Mitt Romney and Joe Biden, I'm voting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if Ted Cruz is eligible to be president, but he has a better argument than Cenk because his mother was an American, like a natural-born American citizen. So I don't know. I don't even know if Ted Cruz can be president, let alone Cenk. So
and
damn right, CenkForAmerica.com.
But it's because I even donated to Nancy Pelosi's program.
Because if Cenk can run, Arnold should run, right? God, it would be so fucking cool if Arnold, who says he can't run, so I believe Arnold over Cenk. Arnold said he'd be running right now if he was allowed to run. And it would be so fucking awesome if Arnold came in and just fucking showed Trump what was what. He could, too. He could, but he can't. So he can run, but he can't. Well, then what's the point? He can run. He would win. Dude, that would be insane. I don't know. He would probably beat Biden, too. We'd have President Arnold, more than likely. It's like if I think about Arnold running against Biden, yeah, I think Arnold would probably beat Biden. Probably. Welcome, Red Eye. You'll get to watch the private show. So yeah, those of you guys who don't like Patreon and you want to watch the private show, you can become a member right there if you want to. I'm going to be doing more content later on my private show.
Aggressive primary rival because I think, yeah, she's prime evil. I would rather have an idealistic young person who's wrong than evil corporate Nancy Pelosi enriching her.
Would Arnold be the first Republican to win California since Ronald Reagan?
Herself through government and squeezing the vestiges of power until she dies. It's horrifying. But when this came up, Phil Labonte immediately was like, Cenk's not a naturalized citizen. He can't be president. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then what are we talking about? So explain, good sir.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm mainly in the race to make sure that Biden drops out. So I want.
That's not going to happen, though. So it's for you. Biden's not going to drop out. And if he does, it's not going to be because of you. Let's be real about it. If Biden drops out, it's not because of you.
Talk about that a lot.
We like that.
Yeah, he's at 37%. You shouldn't like that. You should be opposed to me because the Republicans and the right wing should want Biden in this race. He's the weakest possible candidate for the Democrats. He's sitting at 37% in the polling. He's down 10 points in independents, down in 5 out of 7 swing states. I have him at over 90%.
Yes, and all of these things are true, but the solution is not you running.
Likelihood of losing. So if you're a right winger, you should turn around now and be like, yeah, let's go Joe Biden. Okay, whatever the opposite of let's go Brandon is. Because
let's go Biden.
That brother's going to lose. There's almost no chance he will.
That brother's going to lose. I like how he said that. Cenk is street. Did you guys know that? That brother's going to lose.
I agree.
And he doesn't know how to campaign. He doesn't know how to fight for his voters. Like Mike Johnson gets elected Speaker of the House, right? I think he's extreme MAGA. I think he's a nut job in 1,000 different ways. We can get into it later. And then when the press secretary is asked about it by Peter Alexander at NBC, they get into Biden mode where they're like, well, that was in the past and we're looking forward to the future and we're looking forward to working with him. Why are you defending Mike Johnson, who's the leader of the other party? You're supposed to fight for us. You're not supposed to go around being like, and Biden says it in nearly every speech. Oh, my Republican friends, I love Republicans so much. I work so well with
That's not
Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. We've been ripping off the American people on behalf of corporate donors for decades. Wait, did I say that last part out loud? No. Okay, he didn't say the last part out loud. But even if you don't think that, even if you're the most hardcore Biden dude in the world, which congratulations, there's 3 of you. Okay, there's like
your mom asks, what is a swing state? A swing state is a state that historically, like in recent history, has gone either way. Like it's close. Like it could go Democrat or Republican, and we're not sure. And those are the states that candidates really try to win. And over the decades, those swing states have changed. You know, there are states that used to be swing states that are now no longer swing states. Ohio used to be like one of the big states to win, and they've been a red state for quite some time now. So, a swing state, because like a state like California is not a swing state. It goes Democrat almost every time. Like it's been 40 years since California has voted for a Republican for president. So that's not a swing state, but like, you know, a state that maybe like Trump won the first time, but he lost it last time. That's a swing state.
No enthusiasm. I can get into that too. It's not going to change the fact that the country's not into him. Like,
what do you think about what Matt Gaetz did with McCarthy?
Arizona didn't used to be a swing state, though. Arizona was a solid red state for a very long time.
So that's another one that's long and complicated because I thought that there were good parts of that and then, of course, disastrous parts of it, right?
I love it.
Yeah, but let me answer your question about the native-born issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not a native-born citizen. I'm a naturalized citizen, okay? And so everybody then goes, well, duh, can't you read, man? It's in the Constitution. It says right there you have to be native-born.
Like when he's like, yeah, man. That's his like impersonation of other people. It's weird.
Yeah, that's in the original Constitution. And right next to it is the clause that says that black people are 3/5 of a person. Well, can't you read, man? It's in the Constitution. It's right there, man. Yeah, but there's a thing called amendments that amend the Constitution. So that part got amended out, the 3/5 part, obviously. Tons of the Constitution got amended out. And the natural born citizen thing was amended out by the 14th Amendment. So the 14th Amendment says very, very clearly, anyone who is born or naturalized has due process and equal protection of the laws. So the Supreme Court has ruled that due process and equal protection means you have the same exact rights, and they didn't put naturalized in there by accident. They put it in on purpose. That very clearly amends the earlier part of the Constitution where naturalized citizens did not have equal rights. Now we do have equal rights. I mean, that's, again, the whole point of the 14th Amendment was to take out the discrimination in the earlier part of the Constitution. And they didn't say like, oh, born and naturalized have equal protection of the laws, asterisks, except for those guys.
Asterisk.
Goddamn,
not asterisks.
Naturalized citizens, they're not allowed to be
Asterisk.
president. If they wanted to say that, they could have said that, but there is no asterisks. There,
It's called an asterisk, not asterisks.
they didn't
Sorry.
say that. They said, no, naturalized citizens have all the same rights.
Some people brought up that there was already a recent Supreme Court ruling which basically ruled the other direction.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is not how it's going
Yeah,
to work.
so there's mixed rulings, no question. So there's, in Schneider v. Russ, they say that naturalized citizens and
Asterisks. Yeah, if you could do asterisks. Asterisks.
natural-born Americans have the same exact rights. It would be, wildly unconstitutional to treat naturalized citizens as "quote-unquote" second-class citizens. Okay. Now, in Schneider, they mention the presidential clause, but they don't comment on it. They don't say yes or no to it. They just note it and move on. Okay. And then there are decisions with this guy Hassan did a kind of a fake run. He's a good guy, good intentions. I imagine, I don't know him personally, but kind of did this amateur litigation, and the courts then didn't really get a chance to fully consider it. He came in with a really weak case, and so he got some rulings against him. But that is not at all definitive. And when you get into court decisions, even though the 14th Amendment is crystal clear, lawyers get in there and they're like, well, did they mean born or naturalized, even though they said born or naturalized? And then they mean equal, even though they said equal. Well, what about this case where even though it says equal, it doesn't mean equal? Yeah, we can fight that out, and we are going to fight that out. We're going to fight that out in the courts, and we're going to win.
I think you'll need an amendment.
No.
You don't? You think the Supreme
Yeah,
Court?
good news. You're right. We did need an amendment. We got one. It was called the 14th Amendment.
Well, all right.
Okay.
But do you think with the current makeup of the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
it's more political than
Okay, let's
logical?
break it down one by one. So, Tim, let me see if I can get agreement on logical and moral grounds. Okay. So, should naturalized citizens be second-class citizens where we go, we don't really trust you?
Nope.
Like in the beginning, the reason they put that into the original Constitution hundreds of years ago is because back then the Habsburg dynasty was sending in
Habsburg. He means Habsburg, but that's
princes
Right.
into other
Habsburg.
bloodlines and royalty and stuff. And we didn't want to be taken over by the Prussian Empire or the Hungarian Empire. So that's what it's an anachronism, right?
Yeah.
So like Congressman Ted Lieu's a Democrat, came here when he was 3 years old from Taiwan, grew up in Cleveland, doesn't remember Taiwan, right? He's a colonel in the U.S. Air Force. Patrick Bet-David's a right-winger, was in the 101st Airborne. His family ran from Iran during the Iranian Revolution. He's Armenian Christian. Is he disloyal? Is he more disloyal than other Americans? No way. I mean, you tell me. Do you look at those guys, Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc., and go, they don't love America enough? I bet they're going to sell us out to Austria or Iran or Taiwan.
I think you'll find Americans will do that too. I think you'll find there's traitors of this country. We had that story about the military couple selling nuclear secrets. I think, what was that, like last year or whatever?
Yeah.
So in this globalized culture and world that's being built with communication technology, I think the question that comes up is you have to choose one of two directions, which is they either amend the 14th or amend the Constitution away in that direction.
Habsburgs. Yeah, I've seen the Habsburg family crypt in Vienna. There's like a crypt where a lot of famous members of the Habsburg dynasty are there. It's pretty weird.
Recognize exactly what you're saying. The issue being, what we see now is birth tourism. Mm-hmm. So based on the 14th Amendment, you have women in China, men and women in China, will hire a surrogate in California to have their kid for them. So that kid is both Chinese and American. And then what? that kid's going to grow up in China and come back to the United States and be president. They're allowed to. So I think.
I mean, look, my family is.
That would be crazy if that's crazy to think, and I don't doubt it's happened that women have American women have gone to China and gotten in vitro fertilized, like they got fertilized with someone else's embryo, and they're just like a surrogate, and then they come back to the U.S. and have the baby. And it's like, well, this isn't my baby. That'd be so weird.
This is a perfect example.
And there'd be no way of knowing they were pregnant when they came back because they'd be in the very early stages.
It's not perfect in that they're not anchor babies because my sister grew up in America like I did, but she went back to Turkey. And
his sister that he's talking about is Hassan's mother.
When she came here, she wanted to have birth here more because of not like anybody thought oh, these kids are going to be the president, right? No, because it's better health care, comfortable, and with her parents, with my mom and dad to take care of her. So for when she had both Hassan and Murat, my two nephews, she came back to America, where she grew up, to have the kids. But they did spend their childhood in Turkey.
So Hassan was born in the U.S., but then they took him back to Turkey, where Hassan grew up in Turkey, is what he says here.
So Hassan actually came to America when he was 18. So
oh, wow.
So I grew up in America, and culturally, I'm 100% American, right?
And this is my point, right? If a couple in China has a surrogate give birth to their son in California, who is then immediately at the age of 2 months brought back to China, raised completely under the CCP, and then at 35 moves to the United States and says, I'm going to run for president, I think we'd be upset with that. We'd say, wait, hold on. And for someone like Patrick Bet-David or you, I know people are going to say politics.
They wouldn't win the presidency, though, if they did it that way. They wouldn't win. So, people would have a problem with it, and they wouldn't be able to win the election. So typical was oh, we'd have a problem with that, wouldn't we? It's and they wouldn't win. If we were oh, this was a clear attempt at hijacking an election by China. Oh yeah, no, they could run. If they were born in the United States, yeah. He's saying in this hypothetical scenario, an American woman gets goes to China and gets impregnated as a surrogate to Chinese citizens, and then comes back to America. No one knows they're pregnant. Then they give birth. Oh, if the kid's born on... Oh, you're going to just do wrong? Okay, you're dumb. I don't need to talk to you anymore then, dumb fucker. If a kid is born here, they're citizens. That's not... The child needs to be here. What? The child does not need to be in the U.S. for 14 years. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's really dumb.
They probably like Patrick Bet-David, but you would much rather have, in my opinion, either of you who grew up in America, American culture, and we disagree politically. It's better than someone growing up in China and having a technicality allow them to be our president.
Yeah, 100%. So it's absurd to say that we are less American than the person who went and grew up in a different country. And you're not wrong.
Stabby, I can just ban you so I don't have to read the dumb shit you write anymore. I really don't care. You're not funny at all. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Folks come over from China, Taiwan, and have kids in LA. That's a common phenomenon. People know that. And they do that
for tourism.
And so we can argue about whether that should be allowed or not allowed. But to say that we're less American than they are is absurd. It's totally absurd. So logically and morally, everyone gets we shouldn't be second-class citizens. We should have the same exact rights. And look, I don't know if if you guys watched the Netflix show about Arnold.
If you're here just so you can try to trigger me, literally you can fuck yourself. Like, seriously. This isn't a game. If you think it is, I'm not playing, so you're just playing a game with someone who's not. Sheesh. Dude, you're older than me. Stop acting like a little kid.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-mm. So it just reinforces what I would have figured about Arnold, which is that I love America.
I have not seen the actual Justice Warrior thing. I'll read it, but I do not believe that that is correct. I don't believe that they have to be here for 14 years. All you have to do is be born in the U.S. and you're a U.S. natural born citizen. 14 years, it has nothing to do with anything. There's plenty of people that have gotten citizenship. Like Bruce Lee is actually an example of like he didn't run for president, but he was born in the U.S. and then went back to China really young and grew up in China and then was able to like move back and live here.
We can get into that too, right? But if anyone loves America more than me, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'd love it if America stopped blowing up kids overseas.
Yeah. Just because. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing with the left. I love you guys, but it's okay to say that America has done 100 things wrong, and still say you love it. Okay, and for the right wing, it's okay to say you love America and still say that we did 100 things wrong. It doesn't make us like evil. It just makes us human.
I think a large component of what we're saying. This is going to open a can of worms because I'm going to bring up Israel-Palestine, but there's a video coming out of San Francisco of a bunch of students marching through the halls chanting "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." And a question is brought up is why are these kids saying this? Why is this in their mind? My reaction is not immediately like, oh, it's the left is doing this and the right is doing this. My question is, why aren't they chanting about Burma and Myanmar? When a conflict that started in 1948, 12,000 dead this year alone, has been ongoing. And, I made the comment about why does everyone care so much about this? The question I have for these young people is why do they care about Palestine but not Myanmar? And it really is the information that they're consuming, where the information is coming from. And I think, as you mentioned, the media sows division. I don't so much believe that the corporate American interests.
Anyone born on American soil whose parents are citizens of the United States is a natural born citizen. Okay, so let me see. General requirements for acquisition of citizenship at birth. A person born in the United States who is subject to the jurisdiction of the most included. Yeah, I don't know. Everything I'm reading, like, let's say. Wrong. Constitutional requirements for presidential candidates. Okay. So you had to have been a resident for 14 years. So that means they had to have lived in the United States for 14 years. I don't know. I mean, but that doesn't mean like the kid has to like grow up here for 14 years. But it says they have to be a resident, which I don't know what technically that means. Do they have to, can they have a residency in the US and a residency in China the whole time? I mean, you're a citizen, so you could have a residence in both places, right? But yeah, I get what you say about like the 14-year thing. I'm not sure why they don't. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they would have dual depending on the rules of their country. They'd probably have dual citizenship. No, dual citizenship is not hard to get under certain circumstances. In some circumstances, you just get it. Like if my parents would have been traveling to like somewhere in Europe, and I was born there, like in Ireland or something like that, I would have had like citizenship in both countries. You know, if I was born there. It really depends on the laws of both places. Some countries don't allow dual citizenship, and you have to like renounce your citizenship to one of the two countries. Yeah. It all depends on the laws of both countries being cooperative. Like there are multiple dual Canadian U.S. citizens that I've known. You know, so. Ireland goes really far back. If you have a great grandparent that was born in Ireland, even one of them, there's still a chance you could claim citizenship in Ireland. Look it up. Ireland is like, because they used to they had like a big sink in their population in the 20th century, and they were welcoming even like foreign born people who had like one Irish great grandparent to like apply for a visa to live there. Let's get back to the video.
Are trying to cause mass fighting between left and right. I do think there's a political component of it's good to have left and right fighting. I believe more so foreign interests are hell-bent on.
More importantly, an Irish visa will get you into the EU. You could use your Irish visa to like work and live in any of the EU nation states. So that's kind of a big world that opens up too.
And making sure we keep fighting, especially as you've got war in Ukraine, you've got now war in the Middle East. There is a vested interest in watching the United States rip itself to shreds, which results in young people, whether you agree or disagree on their position on Palestine, being polarized in that direction.
Yeah. So a lot to unpack there too. By the way, before I get to that, which is a really important question, I should say that, look, whether you think, to finish up the earlier topic, whether you think that
you only pay taxes where you work and live. Like, you pay taxes where you work and make your money and spend your money. So you'd only be paying taxes if you're working and living in both places. And you can't be like both. I mean, it is true. Like if I moved to another country and worked there and made money, the US wouldn't be like, "Oh, you got to pay us taxes for the money you made while you were living in Europe." That wouldn't happen. Not if you work abroad. No, you pay the taxes. You don't pay income tax for income you make outside of the US as US taxes. That does not happen.
it's you're dissatisfied with Biden as an option, you're left wing, or you think you're a naturalized citizen and you think, yes, God damn it, take this to the Supreme Court and be done with this thing. Let's get a decision once and for all. Chip in $1 at cenkforamerica.com is just like a protest. Like, no, obviously it shouldn't be Biden. And yeah, obviously naturalized citizens should have 100% the same rights.
And right-wing personalities are rooting for you too. You said they should want Biden in the race. That's true. But a lot of people have said any dollar going to Cenk is a dollar not going to Biden. Is a dollar not going to the DNC.
Look, I even got the URL. Biden is going to lose.com. Okay, Biden is going to lose.com because he is. And so for me, I'm lunging at the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Because this
Wheel
thing,
of the beast.
at the wheel of the Titanic.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going around rearranging the chairs on the deck. I'm like, guys, the chairs aren't going to help the iceberg. The polling shows it's a goddamn iceberg and we're going to hit it. And I'm not going to join that party. Let's go back to Palestine.
Well, no, let's just do this. What are your campaign positions? What do you hope to achieve as president?
Oh yeah, so that's the other reason.
And then we'll argue about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, my positions are enormously popular. And so what's the difference between me and, let's say, a standard Democrat that might say the same things? I'm not full of crap, and they are. Okay. So, and I'll back that up. So I'll back up both propositions, that my positions are intensely popular, and a lot of the other Democrats are unfortunately full of crap. So, okay, let's take...
Okay, yes. So I did look it up, and I was wrong on that. The United States is one of only 2 countries in the world where your taxes are based on your citizenship and not your place of residency. So if you are an American citizen living abroad, but I don't understand how that works for like Americans that have permanently moved to another country. Like, how long can they collect taxes from you? Yeah, that's only 2 countries in the world that do that. I don't know what the other one is, but yeah, they collect taxes from you no matter where you live. But that doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I funding the U.S. government if I don't live and work in the U.S. government? That's insane to me. I didn't know that. I would just like give up. Like, if I was planning on staying wherever I lived, I'd be like, well, I'm not coming back then. Okay. So, because how could they even pursue you for those taxes eventually? They couldn't.
Paid family leave. Polls at 84%. That's giving moms 12 weeks off after they have a baby. Right wing loves that position. 3/4 of the Republicans want it as well because, I mean, you want more kids, right?
Yep.
And so
tax credits for more babies.
Yeah, those type of positions poll really, really well among right wingers and really, really well among left wingers. So we all agree: do not send moms back to the assembly line in the coal mines the day after they deliver.
I gotta pause real quick. I'm not sure we got the question early on of how do you define left and right?
Yeah, so there are things that are traditionally left and traditionally right. But I define progressive, for example, in chapter 2 of my book, and I define it a little bit differently than others do. So for me, and it'll frustrate some of you guys because you'll think those are really American positions. You guys don't get to claim them, but I do. So one is we believe in expanding the circle of liberty. And so you might think like, whoa, no, man, right wing's liberty, right? Are you? Because like we think that gay people and trans people and Muslims and everyone else should have the same exact rights. And oftentimes the right wing goes, nah, not really. I mean, I think trans people should be separated out here and here and here, et cetera, right? So we can get into those debates, but I believe in expanding the circle of liberty and that is a left wing and progressive position. And then you've got justice for all. And again, you would say, well, what do you mean? Justice? Of course, we're all for justice. Are you? Because right now, black people and white people smoke pot at the same rates, and black people get arrested at 4 times the rate. And so, and part of the reason why I said in the beginning, but the lines are moving, is because now the right wing has moved on that position. And so the voters say, no, that is unjust. You're right. And stop putting those guys in prison. Plus, it costs money. Plus, it's not fair. Plus, it leads to more racial issues, et cetera, right? But the Republican politicians are like, oh, no way. Black people should be arrested at 4 times the rate of white people. We're not.
No one says
changing a goddamn thing.
They're not literally saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I see your point.
Yes.
But they are through their legislation. You're right. They're not saying that.
Exactly. Thank you for calling him out on that, because I don't like when he does that. He does like a weird impersonation of them and claims that that's literally what they're saying, which people would be able to be like, look at this recording of this lunatic saying this dumb shit.
So so the idea here, and the last one is equality of opportunity. And so some on the left might say, no, equality of results, but I don't agree with that at all. It's equality of opportunity. And then again, with equality of opportunity, you say, well, the right wing's in favor of that too. And maybe with the voters, but not the politicians, because, so for example, college for all is equality of opportunity. So everybody's got a shot at college. And my dad, they did this in Turkey in the 1960s, okay? And we're the richest nation on earth right now. And if Turkey could afford it in the 60s, America can afford it now. And what it does is it takes guys who are poor, like my dad, who was a dirt poor farmer in southeastern Turkey, and gives him an opportunity, and then he becomes a mechanical engineer. He sets up his own business. It's better for the economy, hires hundreds of people. If I keep going, most of the right wing will agree with me, but their politicians say, hell no, that costs rich people.
The U.S. and China are the two countries. So China is the other country that taxes you if you like move to another country and work there. Yes, that should not be allowed. That should not be allowed. That's like insane. And the only reason I didn't know that is because I haven't worked in another country, but I know people from all these other countries and they don't get taxed. They don't get double taxed, you know?
A nickel and a dime. I'm never going to do that for the middle class in America.
But I think all of these can be broken down to the more complex nuances of the argument. So when it comes to, I'll just go quickly, but then we can start and focus on one. When it comes to, say, like you mentioned, trans rights, it's a question of when does one person's rights and privileges infringe on someone else's rights and privileges? What is a right? What is a privilege?
I would say that about guns, but yes.
And right, that's a complicated one. And then when it comes to college, my first thought is I don't think college for all is the answer. I think school reform first. If we can get better education at the lower grades and through high school, we may find something totally different happens with college. If you look at the greatest generation into the boomers, they didn't need college. Something changed. And I think what we're seeing now with college is these kids are being sent to daycares where, you know, when my college years, I didn't go. All of my friends were just partying all the time and learned nothing. They got out of college 22 with no careers, no plans, no experience, and massive debt. And I've already been working I was working for O'Hare at the airport for 2 years. I ended up working at a nonprofit, eventually became a director really, really quickly. So I'm 23 with a salaried position as a director of nonprofit. My friends are working at Starbucks. College did not actually help them. So
it is so weird because my generation was like, you got to go, like, my generation was pushed so hard to go to college. Like, literally, it was like, you must go to college. If you don't go to college, you have no future. You have absolutely no future if you don't go to college. You must do this. You must take out a loan from the federal government to go to college so you can have a future. That's literally what was pushed.
College can be good, but we got to reform the system first. Instead of just saying, let's send everybody to college. Like, well,
there are certain professions that you should go to college for.
We're wasting a lot of money with bad schooling right now. Let's fix it however that needs to be fixed.
So, yeah, I don't agree. I understand what you're saying. I don't really agree with that. I think we could do both at the same time. But as long as we're having a conversation about how to actually fix it and we're putting our heads together, I'm down, right?
I just think the earlier years of someone's life are the most important. And if we can get one of the initiatives my buddies were talking about 10 years ago was converting libraries into hacker spaces, effectively workshops where the kids want to be there because they're making little hot air balloons or they're.
But you know what would happen next, Tim?
What would happen?
They would immediately look at porn and then.
So this is a weird thing. I don't think Cenk knows that in like a school setting, they can block access to certain websites so they can like block all the porn websites and that kind of shit. I don't think Cenk knows that. So he's like, oh yeah, give computers to kids. They're just going to look at porn. And I remember watching this earlier and I'm like, that's kind of a weird point, Cenk. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good point. That's kind of weird.
And then the librarian nowadays, it'd be in Tennessee, and then the librarian would get arrested for 20 years because she let the kids accidentally see gay porn. Like straight porn, she'd be like, go for it all day long, all day long. Oh, somebody's gay! Ah! arrest the librarian. That's what would happen.
Well, just don't let kids get access to this stuff at all. And
yeah, I mean, first of all, that makes the whole book banning and all that stuff and all the stuff that DeSantis passed totally absurd. It's they're like, okay, we're going to keep these out of those kids' schools, and then that way they won't have it in the libraries or the classrooms, and they will not have any access to it. Dude, it's called the internet. Okay, they can get access to any kind of sex, any kind of materials, any kind of literature. They could get. They're going to find out that gay people exist online. I'm afraid of saying it because then Republican politicians are going to want to ban the internet.
But my actual position is, I don't understand.
They ban parts of the internet. That's what they do in China.
Understand how we got to the point where a child can't go into an adult bookstore, but a child is allowed to go on porn websites.
Yeah, and that so that ship has sailed.
Or I mean, something's got to be done.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. What has to be done is parenting. Is right?
Yes.
And so the right wing weirdly lost track of parenting because they think that they're the parenting kings, but then they're always like, society has kidnapped my kids and they gave them this. No, look, I see things in society that I don't agree with. And you know what I do? I sit my kids down and I talk to them and I say, here's what's right and here's what's wrong and here's why, right?
But do you know why the issue of the books comes up? It's because parents were not being informed and the information was being withheld from them. That's why the bill was parental rights in education, one component of which was third grade and below didn't have access to sex education. They removed that.
So, yeah, Tim, that part's easy, right? If the Republicans left it at, hey, third grade and below, remove all sex education, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. We're not talking to kids below third grade. And you left it at that.
That is some straight up bitch shit, I want to say, to like tax someone. Like, if I moved to Canada and started working there, I'm going to be paying income taxes there. You mean to tell me the U.S. wants a cut of my income taxes too? That is fucking weird. Like, that should not be allowed. I cannot believe that they do that. I had no idea. You guys did educate me today. I had no idea. The very concept of it is so insane to me that I'm like, what? Like, they're not living in your country. They're not using the shit the tax money goes towards. Why are they collecting taxes? Like, and obviously only 2 countries do it. So it's a pretty fucking fucked up concept.
Great. Nobody's got a problem. If they have a problem, they're going to lose anyway. That's an extremist position, right? Mm. So, but then it didn't stop at third grade. Then it went to 12, I think. Yeah, it went to elementary. Then it went to junior high. And I'm like, okay. But
yeah, death and taxes and all, but the U.S. and China apparently are the only 2 countries that can tax you when you don't even live like where they live. Like, I shouldn't have to be on the hook to pay you when I I shouldn't be on the hook to pay a government if I don't live under them anymore. No, I should not be splitting. No. If I live a whole year in Canada, as an example, all the money I make in Canada should be paid to the Canadian government in taxes, not the country I didn't live in. You should only tax the money I make while living in your country. That's it.
In junior high, they got to start learning sex ed. That's when they get 12, 13, 14. That's should. All right, then they went to high school. And I'm like, what are we doing here, guys?
But here's the issue.
And the other thing is, Tim, sorry, but if it was like, hey, you know what, we don't want them exposed to violent material or sexual material. Okay.
It's weird because like in the EU, there's this sales tax that's really high. And before I left, I showed them all my receipts for all the sales tax that I paid while I was there, and they gave me a refund on it because I don't live there. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if anyone in Europe right now is watching, but if you could tell me what it was, but there was a tax on every purchase, and at the end of my trip, I was able to get that refunded because I don't live there.
Okay, right? But once they started going, No, but we don't want them exposed to the gay people and trans people. We don't want anybody talking about that crap, okay? Then I'm like, okay, then you don't care about sex. And this isn't about parenting. It's just you don't like those people. Just be honest.
So the issue that I see is
the value added tax. That might be what it is. I know that's in Canada. I don't know about Europe. It was like a sales tax of some sort.
When I did sex ed, I was in 5th grade. Parents signed off on a permission slip. There was only one kid out of my class who was actually taken out of the room, and the parents were like, he's not allowed. And so I don't know what he did. He went to lunch.
We did sex ed in my private Catholic school starting in the 6th grade. And it was just about, like, the first chapter was just about puberty. Not really about sexual stuff. And then, but no, we did have, like, in Catholic school, we had, like, human sexuality class. And there was a little bit of religious mumbo jumbo, like, interwoven into it. But otherwise, we did just learn, like, the science of human sexuality. You know, I'd love to, like, totally trash it and say it was shit and that I didn't learn anything from it, but it really wasn't. It really was like most of it. It wasn't hot. Like, anything that was like genitals or whatever was like drawn. So it wasn't like an actual picture of anything. Like, nothing. It was just weird stuff. They showed, like, the weird penis diagram, like the flaccid penis diagram. Yes, they did sex ed in my Catholic elementary school. But it was, like, really... It was part of religion class, basically. They made it, like, part of the religion class, but it was pretty much straightforward in, like, how it works and how, like, you know, there was some religious shit, but some of it actually wasn't totally wrong. You know, like, we learned about, like, there's different types of love. There's, like, you know, like, the kind of love you have for your parents and your family, and then there's the kind of love you have for your friends, and there's the kind of love you have for, like, a romantic partner, you know, and just, like, it's all love. It's just, like, different types of it. Like, we learned that, and I think that's a valuable thing to learn, you know,
or something.
Yeah.
Sex ed was the boys and the girls were separated. They then explained organs, organ function, and the process of fertilization, how babies are made and things like that. And we were all like 10 years old. And now we actually...
The love for coke and hookers, they don't teach you that in Catholic school. Yes, we Mario Heat, we've established that Americans, if you mean that when you say we, yes, we get taxed everywhere for working abroad. No matter where we work, I looked it up. We get taxed, federal income tax, no matter where in the world we work. It doesn't have to be anywhere like within the U.S. or any of its territories. Yeah. Canada, doesn't matter. But Canada is totally different. Those fucking Canadians, I know, they have it made. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have Canadians that I have paid for stuff for work that they've done for me, and I was told by my accountants that I don't have to report their earnings to the IRS here. So take that for what you will. I was told, like let's say Scott Henson is on Drunken Peasants and I pay him a couple bucks to be on DP, but he was in Canada when he did the work. I don't have to report that to the, like, I don't have to issue him a 1099 form or anything like that. Fuck the Commonwealth. That old bitch is dead. Time for all of you to leave. You don't want Charles stanking it up. Get rid of that Commonwealth. The Commonwealth of whom? I looked it up, and there's only 2 countries that demand, like across the board, income tax payments, foreign made, foreign residency income tax payments, and that's the U.S. and China.
I have a sample of these books that are considered sex ed, but it's actually kink, talking about scat. And if you want me to show you the book, I'll show you the book.
No, it's.
I mean, so when
I'm good on scat.
Right. This is what happens then is you. I think you've talked about this too. Someone on the right will say like, there's a parent, and not even necessarily a right-wing person, says, I discovered this book in my school which shows graphic kink depictions and kink education about things totally unrelated to reproduction and sex, and then you get a knee-jerk reaction from the tribal left saying you want to ban books. You're anti-gay. And it's like, wait, hold on. Like, this book just shows someone giving a blowjob, you know, and playing with strap-ons and things like this. That's not for kids.
But Tim, if you guys left it there, it would have been just a fringe.
Well, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, if that would have been just a fringe part of the left arguing for dildos in class. Okay, that would not have been the entirety of the left. It would not have become a national issue.
For sure, but
you guys didn't leave it there. Then you went to like any book that mentions gay people.
But you say we, like we did not. Like,
okay.
Whoever we are here at Timcasts, we're weirdos or something. But you're right. Yeah, Ron DeSantis then expands it. Florida then goes up to, I think, 12th grade and said, keep these books out. But there's not the problem I see is when the right comes out and says, hey, that's a kind of a problem, you get a tribalist reaction defending it. And, we had Emma Vigilant on from Majority Report, and I asked her if she was in favor of whatever book we have over there. We have This Book is Gay, which actually describes scat. And like, that's just the most extreme example of like, hey, don't give that to kids. And she goes, so you're for censorship? I'm like, well, are you you think kid? My response is, it's simple. I am for censorship. I 100% am for censorship. I think Facebook should censor. I think X should censor, and YouTube should censor. But what should censor is what is being argued. I don't think YouTube should allow graphic terrorist videos of beheadings and things like this. I have no problem with them putting filters and restrictions and making sure kids don't get that. The same as I think schools should be like, hey, this book's got someone giving a blowjob in it. Maybe we should take that to the library. But the knee-jerk reaction of you support censorship. I'm like,
hi, Fireman John. Have you played any cool slot machines lately? But yeah, Cenk is a fool. Hey, what's up, y'all? Wicked Boys 420, y'all. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for visiting me. I wish you all the smiles and happiness, my friends. Please give the stream a thumbs up as I pour some more Cabernet Sauvignon into this pineapple-shaped glass. No, I don't. No, I don't what? No, I don't what? I missed that. I don't know. Maybe there's a delay. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? Cabernet Sauvignon is just like a type of grape. So it's not necessarily fancy. This is a very cheap bottle of wine. This is like a $4 bottle of wine. Ben, you couldn't get drunk if your life depended on it. I can't? Is that an insult? Or are you saying like my tolerance is so high I couldn't get drunk if my life... Dude, I can get drunk. I've gotten embarrassingly drunk. People have seen it. Dare me. Dude, I can't understand what you're saying. You don't make any sense. Can I get back to Tim Pool, please? Someone who makes sense.
Not an argument. You know, or unless you're just trying to defend these books.
But by the way, though, what you're saying applies exactly to the right wing as well about those platforms, where the platforms say, "Hey, we're not going to allow terrorist videos on, we're not going to allow child porn on, and we're not going to allow Nazis on." And then they go, "Oh, censorship! Oh, our beloved poor Nazis, they're not allowed on anymore. You left-wing censors!" Right? Like,
but they're correct.
Well, hold on. Let's break it down. What do we mean by censorship? Like, to your point, we all agree with some degree of censorship, right? I hope everybody agrees, don't allow child porn anywhere, right? Easy, right? So then
not no one.
Question is, where do you draw the lines? So
there are people who probably disagree with
we
that.
already agreed Ron DeSantis was wrong. He drew the line too far out to 12th grade. He went too far in banning things that weren't about sex, but were just mentioning gay people. I don't know if you agree with that, but I'm saying it. Okay.
Well, did you watch his press conference where they go through the books?
So look, you pick out individual books and you say, hey, these have inappropriate sexual stuff, and it's for under 3rd grade, under 5th grade, etc. No problem with that conversation. Okay. So it's when you get to don't mention gay people that I will never accept that under any circumstance.
I agree, though. And I think that is more of a, I don't know how to describe that. I think, at least for us.
You know, because of Fireman John, I think I'm just going to play the rest of this video. He likes it.
Us, the conversation we're having is, there's a teacher in Illinois who gave kids access to This Book is Gay, which it teaches, it was to 10-year-olds how to use Grindr. And it's kind of like,
okay, guys, again,
they called the cops on her. But
don't call the cops on her either, right? Like, don't overreact. So let's say that happened to my kids. My kids are 13 and 11, right? And so they were just around that age. And some weirdo teachers teaching them about Grindr.
By the way, everyone, I'm doing my Patreon private show later on. You can check it out. Patreon.com/BenPie. I also have the link I can share with you if you want to join. It's only $1. It's $1 for tonight's private show. We're going to hang out and drink and get ridiculously wasted tonight. Oh, $1? That's a steal, Fireman John. I'll pin it right there to the top. There you go. Fireman John.
Okay, the reaction I would have is, first I'd sit the kids down and go, hey, ignore that. That's for when you grow up and you make your own decisions. That's not the thing that you should be concerned about.
Hey,
now
man,
I'd have a good
have you ever made
talk
the
with them.
Japanese dish oyakudon with some grilled negi? It's pretty delish.
No, I have not. I do like that, though.
About the context. Then I would go to the school and say, guys, what are we doing?
I like a good sukiyaki.
Right? You can't teach Grindr. What are you doing? Right?
Did you see what happened when parents did that?
Well, but the problem, Tim, is no, I didn't. But
the FBI called them terrorists.
No, but so you guys get so carried away with the FBI calling people terrorists because you think that they're doing it in such an expansive way, but they're not. It's like this hysteria. FBI is mainly targeting domestic terrorists that are actually right-wing terrorists. And so, like, then again, people catch feelings because they're like, right-wing, kid.
$1 sign up in the chat right there. Patreon post right there is where you can sign up for $1 and you'll get the link to the stream.
Be terrorists. No, definitely can be terrorists. The dude sent pipe bombs to anyone who opposed Donald Trump. That guy's a terrorist.
Agreed.
Okay. And he happens to be a right-wing terrorist. And the FBI is saying at this point, the FBI, which is historically massively right-wing, the idea that the FBI is some sort of left-wing deep state is hilarious, not backed up by a single fact.
Fireman John is a 60-year-old man who has a farm and plays slot machines at casinos and he's very angry at me for some reason. I don't know why. He randomly comes around and like gets mad at me in my chat. I don't know what. It's fine. You can have a good time, Fireman John. Don't shoot yourself. I don't want to be responsible for Fireman John shooting himself. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service.
But so the right wing, so the FBI is saying, hey guys, we wish it weren't the case, but most of the domestic terrorists in America now are right wingers, and they're all trying to kill anyone who disagrees with Donald Trump.
I just think that's wrong, and I think I certainly think there are right wing.
By the way,
terrorists.
I just want to be clear. That doesn't mean all right wingers or a majority of right wingers are terrorists. It just means of the terrorists that are around now, which is a small group, right? Unfortunately, most of them are right wingers at this point.
I think it's completely inverted, but the bias comes from the extremity of the actions taken by the terrorists. So,
I just posted Fireman John's channel right there, so you can see that I'm not exaggerating. Maybe he's 50s. I don't know. I said 60. Oh shit, he's got videos about Elisa Jordana and stuff. What the fuck? Okay, so that's how I know you're toxic.
You'll end up with a story of a guy, perhaps Maine. I think the story is more about what happened in Maine. He was mentally unwell and he was targeting his friends, is what they're reporting now. He thought his friends were talking behind his back and he went nuts. But
by the way, they're all mentally unwell.
Of course.
No, but it's not of course, because the right wing says anytime it's a white person or a right winger, they go mentally unwell. And I go, because I'm honest, I agree, right? And so, and they'll have their half of them will have their manifestos like in.
He's wasting all of his money at the slot machines.
Charlottesville, he had a manifesto about race wars and how black people were terrible, and that's why he went inside a black church and shot him up. El Paso was against Latinos. There's the synagogue shootings. So these are political. There's no question.
How old are you, Fireman John? You know, actually, my grandfather was a Fireman John. I think I told you that before. My grandfather was also a Fireman John.
But no one who's mentally well goes into a synagogue or a
Stop
church and
trying
shoots
to rip people off, Ben. $1 just to get into a private show? We are sending you this dono just to tell you this. We got your back, Fireman John 62B. Also, let Billy know he's on the list.
Whoa! Oh no!
People, but
no, I'm not gonna just let you on, Fireman John.
But that is also true of
how old are you though, Fireman John?
Muslims. When it comes to right wing, they're like, oh yeah, that's so true. When it comes to right wing, it's so true. They're just mentally unwell.
It'll be so much more interesting when I'm on your show. You know how many times I've heard that? 56. I said 60, but then I looked at your pictures and I realized I sold you a little short.
On us. Muslims. Oh, it's all Muslims. It's all Muslims. They're all mentally well. That's why they shot up people. They don't have any mental health problems. Their problem is that they're Muslim.
Well,
no. That's exactly bigotry. No, all those dudes have massive mental health problems as well. So instead of saying, "Hey, I hate black people," they're saying, "I hate the West" or whatever it is.
But so here's my point. The examples you gave are these extreme examples that are horrifying. We try to prevent, and these people are. They're acts of evil, abject evil. On the left, you get what I would call more blunt terror. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, the George Floyd riots. When you had small towns across this country, Michael Tracy's reporting, showing a grocery store with its windows smashed out, and they spray paint on the boarded up window saying, "Please don't hurt us." When you have people in Berkeley, I was at a bar in Berkeley, and they had Trump sucks.
Yes, I'm scared. I don't want to talk to you because I'm so scared. Sorry, Fireman John. I'm afraid of you. Sorry, go away, sir, because I'm so afraid of you. Good night.
Trump is a pig on the window, and I'm having a drink, and I asked, this is like 2017, I was like, you guys not big Trump fans? And the bartender's like, no, we like him. And I'm like, why would you put that in the window? If we don't, they'll
Obviously, it's obvious. You win, Fireman John. I hand you the W. Have a good night.
Smash our windows out and attack us. That people live
you win.
Have
I'm
you been
afraid.
To Berkeley? There's a Burger King with a big sign in the window saying, "We are not a corporate chain. We are family owned. Please don't hurt us." I'm like, why would you live that way? You look at May 29th, when far leftists firebombed the White House grounds and St. John's Church. And this is not major news. There's no committee.
Okay, you're welcome to stay, old timer. We don't normally have many of the boomer generation up in here. I'm glad that you're here.
Hearings. But if you're somebody who lives, I'll give you a more recent example. When I'm in Reston, Virginia, having dinner with the team here, a guy comes up and says, "You're not going to hear this a lot in Reston, but I'm a big fan." And I was like, actually, like 4 people already have come up and okay, that's the blunt terror of, in a town I live in, I have to whisper and I'm scared that someone might find out I listen to Timcast. When in reality, people who worked there and other people had already said this, but they all seem to say the same things. I'm scared to express my opinions.
That's not terrorism, Tim.
But it is.
No,
it is people who are living in terror for political reasons.
No. Let me clarify. Okay, so
firebombing the White House is not terror.
So no, firebombing, of course, is.
They did,
but that's Tim. That is enormously rare on the left. So you can always go back to, hey, the guy who shot Steve Scalise. Hey, we found it one time. Okay, what you're talking about is cultural domination. And is that true in Berkeley, that the left dominates in a way that is oppressive to the right? Like
it's not the right. I'm talking about
no, I get it.
Asian salon owners.
No, I know, and to the middle as well, right? Yes, but is it also true that you'll get the same kind of cultural domination in the middle of Alabama? So if you're in the middle of Alabama and you put up a Trump sucks sign, you are going to have massive.
Are you kidding me, dude?
Problems.
You will not get someone coming to your house and threatening to kill you.
You're nuts. Yes, you will. In fact, there's a guy who had a Trump sign in the middle of Pennsylvania, and his neighbor, a Biden sign or something, and his neighbor shot him and killed him because he's like, "You're against Trump. I hate you. I'm going to murder you."
Biden sign?
I forget what the sign was, but it was something either against Trump or pro Biden or pro something. It happened a couple of years ago. You could definitely look it up. And so, yeah, no. There's huge parts of this country that if you say Trump sucks, they will physically assault you. I mean, look, forget the middle of the country. When I ran for Congress.
We don't need to talk about football. Ohio State is the greatest football team in college football history. Case closed. End of story. And what's to talk about? Nothing. And then nothing else even matters. It's the end. Amen.
We did a panel up in Palmdale, which is in outer parts of LA, but there's like far right militia types up there as well, right? Even though it's mainly Democratic, and so it's a bunch of massive right wingers came to our panel, and I said one thing against Trump, and they nearly assaulted me. They're like, "How you can't say that about our president?" Right? Well, then they say,
what was it a metaphor for? Is that like a sexual innuendo or something? I don't know what it is. Are you throwing are you sliding your foot under the door of the urinal? Are you flirting with me, Fireman John? When Ben is chrome, I was smoking a stone and got lost in a father of my river. Don't drive with sandals. I'm not flailing. I'm not trying to debate anyone. Dude, this is my stream where I drink and watch videos and just do whatever. I'm not trying to debate an old fireman, okay? I'm not trying to debate anybody. Keep playing Cenk for money. All right, thank you.
Barack Hussein Obama's a Muslim terrorist. I said
$30 so far.
Wait a minute, I thought we weren't saying bad things.
All right,
about
goodbye.
Yeah. What happened, away. Right? So there are people that are massively full of crap on both sides.
But perhaps the issue then is these types you're describing live in sparsely populated areas. You maybe don't see them. They don't have a larger impact on greater society because of the density of cities and the amount of people who live there.
But they have a massive impact. The right wing does in the middle of the country. What we hear all the time on the Young Turks is, "Oh, thank God, I thought I was alone." Right? Like
go read some Gooding or something or fucking.
See you guys, and it gives me sanity because I live in the middle of Tennessee, I live in the middle of Arkansas, I live in the middle of Texas, and everyone here thinks that, you know, if you're against Trump, you're the devil, and you know, you molest kids, and you know, it's just like what you would call cultural terrorism. So I don't think that's fair to call it terrorism on the right or the left. It's just cultural domination in certain areas. And part of what I'm trying to do here is shake people out of that and go, I hear you, and look at all the things we disagree on and all the things that I've said that probably made a bunch of right-wingers angry already. But let's not lose track of the things we also agree on.
Well, so why you saw the meme from Elon Musk where it shows the line moving further and further left, and then the guy who was in the middle is now on the right.
Yeah, that line is the most full of crap line I have ever seen.
That's what I did.
I did the exact opposite line when I was a host on MSNBC a dozen years ago, because in reality, there's two different lines. There's the line that is for the country, and then there's the line that is for Washington. Okay, and the Washington line has moved so far right, I can't see it anymore. I was a liberal Republican growing up. I voted, I voted for George H.W. Bush. I was a kid when Reagan was around, but I loved Reagan, shining city on a hill, etc. But there was a thing called a liberal Republican back then, where you could be socially liberal but still be a Republican. That just doesn't exist anymore. So when I say
conservative Democrats, yeah, it's like everyone's talking about Manchin. He can't win.
Yeah. So Manchin's not a moderate. Manchin is a corporatist through and through.
Oh, agreed.
Okay. So
he's going to lose.
So whereas
I think he's already out. I don't know.
Whereas I was slight center right growing up with almost the same positions, I'm now considered massively left in Washington. Okay. Why? Because they all became corporatists. Biden was known as the senator from MBNA.
Who's benefiting from this? Me. I am benefiting. Thank you.
Which was a credit card company back then. That was his nickname.
Yeah.
Like, even the people in the Senate, they're like, oh, it's so funny. Even among us sellouts, Joe Biden's the biggest sellout. Let's call him the senator from MBNA, right? So we lost it. This is chapter 5 of my book. I'm not trying to plug the book. It's a natural thing that's coming up, and I want to go back to policy, etc. But chapter 4, I explain how we lost the Democratic Party. So the chapter 3 is Republicans suck. Why Republicans suck? Okay, and that explains how the Republican Party went from the party of Lincoln to, in my opinion, the party of hate. Okay, so the party changed completely, and they changed completely because of the Southern strategy. But for the Democrats, they think, oh, you're so right about that, Cenk. But I'm like, you think your party didn't change? We used to be the party of FDR. And now we're the party of credit card companies.
Wealthy, yeah. Vox, right? This was 2016. Vox called them Democrats have
the party of credit card
become the
companies.
new party of the wealthy elites.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart. But there's a lot of truth to that. But that's not the left.
It is weird. Like Hillary Clinton will go and speak to the board. She'll be like a hired speaker to the board of like a financial institution.
Democrats in Washington. Okay.
Yeah, I subscribe to Jacobin magazine. Jacobin has been very strong on defending free speech, and so when I started seeing the articles they were posting, and of course I know a ton of people who have been consistently very left economically, and I started seeing the articles and I started reading Jacobin articles, I'm like, this is the kind of left that I want to have an argument with, one that understands the importance of free speech, and I can respect that. And I also think it's important to hear what they have to say when they're making their arguments.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm a massive. I'm very much in favor of freedom of speech. So then we talked about censorship earlier. So then the question is, again, where do you draw the lines? The world is not black and white.
Well, right? So this is a point I did want to make on that. You said, the right saying, oh no, our precious Nazis or whatever. But it's not so much our precious Nazis. It's especially right now with Israel-Palestine, the people who are going to bear the brunt of that legislation is the pro-Palestine left.
100% agree.
So Ron DeSantis just banned. This is a bit of debate right now among Republicans. Vivek Ramaswamy is very critical of Ron DeSantis, saying this the student group should be banned and forced to reform because in their school toolkit they say they are Hamas. They are not. They are Palestinians in exile.
No, Fireman John, I'm just sitting here contemplating all the fucking weird bullshit that you say. And actually, I was e-stalking you, too. I was like, wow, this is Fireman John out here in the pasture with the horses and the donkey and the like the fluffy doggy and the like little chihuahua doggy. You know what? Live your best life, my friend. Live your best life, Fireman John. Where are you from, Fireman John? Which state are you from? I'm not smart enough. I'm an idiot. I'm so fucking dumb. Fireman John has got it going on. I'm just not smart. What time is it there, Fireman John? God, it's got to be late. It's way past your bedtime.
Who are a part of the resistance that is... I don't know if how they explicitly...
Is it Michigan? Are you from Michigan? Are you from Michigan, Fireman John? I'm just wondering. Are you from Michigan? Just answer this much, honestly. Are you from Michigan? Is that what this is about, Fireman John? Is that why you're attacking me? I'm sorry we won the war. Chicago? So you're probably from what? Chicago. And currently in Florida. That's where your brain cells burn away.
On it, they say these are resistance fighters who attacked.
It's
we are
humid
part
there.
of that resistance. And so Ron's argument is that means they are declaring support for a terrorist
He's probably from Schaumburg, right?
organization. Therefore, we have to disband this group. Vivek says, oh, it's a bunch of kids
Probably
in a college
maybe
saying
like Joliet or something.
stupid things. Let them say
He
stupid
said
things.
Chicago.
I agree with that.
But this is what happens when you go after free speech.
Yeah, so then let's talk about where the line should be, because everybody could look up these videos. Young Turks have been around 21 years. We're the longest internet show in history. As far as a daily show, we've been around longer than literally any other show in internet history.
When you guys started, you like there were no social media platforms. You were using weird web players and stuff like old school.
Yeah. We use web players on our own website. We try to get out the word through Yahoo Messenger, through AOL. We were AOL bloggers. We put up videos on MySpace. So we're as old school gets. And so having been around so long, you have all these videos that show indisputably your consistency, right? So I was against Don Imus being fired. I didn't think Rush Limbaugh should be censored, or Glenn Beck, or when I was outraged when
I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh every day at work. I used to I worked at a Goodwill donation center when I was in my early 20s. And the only thing we could do there was listen to the radio, and I used to just listen to like the conservative talk radio station there every day. It was way more entertaining than the liberal equivalent to that. But it was all just like straight propaganda.
Ian Kelly was fired. I'm like, okay.
Fireman John, I'm too scared of you. You should leave. I'm just so scared of you.
Okay, so she said this thing about blackface. Okay, it's wrong, and I can explain why it's wrong. But if you fire her, Nobody's even going to find out why it's wrong.
She didn't say, she asked.
She asked. That's
She just
right.
was
She didn't even
ignorant
say
of
it. That's
Yeah.
right. So if like Al Roker was upset, then guys, why don't you take the opportunity to bring in Al Roker and Megyn Kelly and have an hour-long conversation? And guess what? That'd be the highest-rated show you did that year, right? And then people would learn what's wrong with black.
Okay, I'll figure it out, Fireman John. Sorry, it's all a psyop. I'll figure it out eventually. Good night, bitch.
Instead, you fire her. You never have that conversation. And a whole bunch of white people who've never understood the history of blackface go, what the hell, man? I don't get it.
Exactly.
So I was Michael Jackson in 1983 in Halloween. Well, I didn't do it because I was racist. I'm not evil, right? And that's because they don't know the history of blackface and how white people would put it on and then lynch black people, etc. But you can't blame them if they don't know, right?
Yeah.
So my point is, and Ben Shapiro, Ann Coulter, Charlie Kirk going on college campuses, every time I defended them, okay? So I believe in free speech completely. Now, having said that, nothing's complete, as you pointed out earlier.
It's
There's
a
always
psyop. These things. Yeah, the whole
form
psyop
of
thing is
censorship.
weird.
So where do I draw the line? I draw the line at verifiable but extreme hate speech. Okay, so hate speech isn't I don't like the current right-wing government of Israel. No, that's a policy position.
Right.
Okay, and hate speech isn't I think black people committed more crime in this country than white people. Now, I could break down why I think the context of that is wrong, right? But that's not hate speech. You're trying to have a policy discussion, and maybe you're having it in the wrong direction, but I wouldn't call that anywhere near hate speech, right? So, but if you're going around saying we have to eradicate the Jews, no, that's Nazis. Sorry.
What about from the river to the sea?
No, that's too vague. A lot of people could mean different things from. I hate this term from the river to the sea, but different people mean different things by that.
So, and then I suppose you can cut away the nuance. We had that video out of Cooper Union, I don't know if you saw, where the students are banging on the doors with the Jewish students in the room screaming from the river to the sea. I think that context is more clear then.
So I look, that's 100% wrong. And so I think it was Riley Gaines who had given a speech about how trans women shouldn't be allowed to compete in female sports. And she was in a college campus somewhere. I think it was in the Northwest too, but I forget. And she was scared.
They surrounded the room.
And they surrounded the room, and the cops were scared and didn't want to take her out of the room.
Is that terrorism?
So no, it's too far to call it terrorism. But is it a crime?
Guys, I'm itching really bad. We're about halfway through this. I'll come back and we will watch a little more, but my syphilis is itching really bad. So I'm going to have to apply some syphilis ointment. I will be right back in just a minute. See you in a moment. want to get a little deeper into the... actually, you know what? I'll probably watch the rest of that in my private show. Let's watch a few more things before we move on to the private show, which we are going to do. Patreon private show. Link in the description. $1 or more will get you in. I have to make sure this runs on to snag enough new people. There's a couple of you coming in here and there. Let's look at Emo Howlingwolf versus eBay. I hate that fucking heart button in the chat. What is it? Like, what is its purpose? Like, why? Like, what purpose does that shit serve? No, we're not going to talk, Fireman John. Give it up. I'm an expensive whore, baby.
All right, the sign says we alive, we alive, we alive, we alive. All right, this is going to be take 2 on this because I wish motherfucking StreamYards would start switching my fucking mic. All right, so now that StreamYards wanted to be a fucking asshole and switch my mic again. All right, so let's get into it. Normally I would wait for people to get in here, but I want to get this article over with and out of my face because it's been in my desk for a couple of days, and we got one viewer anyway. So those watching it on the replay viewership, I appreciate it. So anyway, let's turn the camera on and let's get into this. So this came across my desk recently because I was watching a couple of videos on something to do with eBay, and you know how YouTube, when you watch a certain topic, it recommends videos of that topic over and over and over again. So I've had this on my desk since, I think it was Friday night, early Saturday morning. I've had this, in my computer. I have a whole bunch of tabs open, as you can see, that I got to get to and finish here. So anyways, the reality of it is eBay is being sued, people. And the reason why eBay is being sued is because I'm going to make sure. And the reason why, okay, making sure we have audio this time, because the StreamYard's changing is because they keep selling these illegal devices, okay, on fucking eBay. Gonna make this back in this chair tighter. And what these illegal devices do is they allow trucks to roll coal, okay? Diesel trucks, I might add. If you don't know what rolling coal is, that's when an asshole decides that you're walking, just let's say you and your family are walking aimlessly down the sidewalk, and you're walking from like maybe one store to the other, and you're walking down your main street in town, and this asshole just sees you walking down the street, and instead of just driving down the street at a normal pace, as he goes by you, he goes rap, and you're instantly covered in black smoke. And he drives off, and he thinks it's fucking funny. Oh, I just put those guys in a cloud of smoke. Yeah, because I'm an asshole. Okay?
You're so competitive, Fireman John. I've never proclaimed to be a guitar player worth of competition. So I don't know what you're trying to prove. I know you're getting older. The balls are probably shriveling back up inside themselves. I'm sorry. Your midlife crisis should be maybe something more interesting than trolling my chat room. But that's fine. No, I won't ban you. You'll be the weird little puppet everyone pokes at to amuse themselves. If you want to be, that's fine. But I have never been like, I'm the greatest guitar player. I'll take you all on. Like, I'm not trying to compete in guitar playing. You may very well be a better guitar player than me. That's fine.
I don't agree with Roland Cole.
I do play guitar, but that doesn't... Yeah, there's a difference between being a guitar player and being someone who's like a competitive person that wants to like play guitar better.
Never agreed with Roland Cole. I think it's an evil thing to do. It pollutes the environment. And the EPA is now suing eBay.
I am relaxed. You're the one who's not relaxed, which at your age, you might want to watch your blood pressure. I don't know.
For repeatedly allowing sales of these devices where you can put a modified turbo or whatever the fuck on your truck, and instead of making it burn nice, clean diesel out the tailpipe, it blows black smoke into people's faces because you think it's cool to be an asshole. Right? You think it's cool to be a fucking asshole. No, it ain't cool to be a fucking asshole. Because you're an asshole. Now, here's the thing. I don't think the EPA should stop there. I don't think the EPA should stop with just eBay. Because I have never been a fan of fucking demolition derbies, monster truck shows, tractor pulls, truck pulls, semi-truck pulls. You know, that's when they take the tractor of a semi,
a tractor pull,
semi, and they pull with that because not only do you have regular truck pulling with pickup trucks, you have also assholes that do it with semi-tractors as well. I think all that shit should be illegal, in my opinion. I don't think the EPA should stop there. Now, the only problem is that would kill off a lot of state fairs, literally, because back in the late '80s, Massachusetts and New Hampshire banned harness racing at a lot of fairs, and fairs that used to be somebody, they used to be really big fairs. They're like dwarfs now because they lost the harness racing when Massachusetts,
oh God, emo. I love emo's freakouts, but this is not working. Let's do this.
On September 1st, Josh kicked Jeremy Rogers out of his apartment after his 3-day stay. Josh seemed glad that Jeremy was gone and that he had spent all day trying to help him find an apartment.
So Jeremy Rogers is left the building. I had to, man. Sorry. I literally spent all day looking for apartments for him on the computer. I did what I could to help. He's got his money back, so he's good.
Jeremy would end up doing a warlord and was arrested for disturbing the peace only 4 days later. Over the next couple of days, Josh attempted to record the shout-out video another 4 times. That same day, Josh posted on Facebook that he was taking a break from YouTube, only to upload the shout-out video the next day. In the shout-out video, Josh showed off his beautiful pearly whites.
Oh, God.
Thank you for your $1 holler. I gotta eat that Pop-Tart sandwich yet.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna brush my teeth more first. No, I looked in the mirror after using the bathroom earlier, and I'm just sick and tired of the way my teeth look. Start brushing them 3 to 4 times a day until they get a little bit wider.
Over the next few days, Josh exclusively uploaded more boring, rambling videos about making his homemade mead. He would do this throughout the month, and it got old pretty quickly. On September 5th, Josh went live to eBay and said he would shave his mustache for $765.
I will shave my mustache for $765 on camera right now, even if I can't grow it back right away.
This made his fans speculate that he had accidentally spent his rent money or was hundreds of dollars in the negative. Josh would, however, make...
You know, I found it when I finally straightened my teeth out. They became way easier to clean. And now when I go to the dentist, there's way less like picking. I've never had a cavity. I'm 42 and I've never had a cavity in my life. But, you know, I used to get like plaque buildup when my teeth were all crowded, and now they're like way more straight.
Almost $200 just from this one stream. Shortly after, Josh said that he'd receive an undisclosed amount of money from a fan, and he shaved his sideburns.
So I found a buyer, 2 fans who want to see me shave my stash. But I want to meet them halfway first with the sideburns.
Yes, I've never had one cavity in my life. I'm 42 years old, but my bottom teeth used to be pretty crowded, and it used to take forever to like pick all the plaque out. So I had them straightened a couple years ago using one of those like home straightener kits where they spread your teeth out and straighten them out because it was like crowding. Now it's like I go in and they pick away like a little bit, but it's pretty good, you know?
On September 7th, Josh changed his Facebook profile picture. Later that same
Looking
day,
good.
Josh once again said he would shave his mustache, now for $666.
People asked how much to shave the mustache, and this right here, $666, and I'll do it.
Perhaps he changed the amount due to fans speculating that he needed money for his rent. On September 8th, Josh made almost $250 from donations. A fan donated $100 for Josh to do a drink combo, and Josh blew this person off and said he couldn't afford it.
Martin, thank you for your $100 for drink combos. I'll be sure to do that when I can afford it. Christoph, happy birthday, dude.
The next day, after Josh said that he couldn't afford to get drunk, Josh got drunk and ate cat food a troll DoorDash to him, and had a meltdown after the police did a wellness check on him.
Finally! Jesus fucking Christ! I've been trying to redo my fucking second half of my live stream for ages now. Seriously fucking frustrating. I try to go live and the internet's gonna fuck with me on it, dude. I'm fucking physically over it.
It's that tism rage.
Fucking stupid YouTube. I'm supposed to hand it to you face to face. Oh my god. Let's see what the fucking asshole sent me. Is it actual food or is it just bullshit? There are some days I get sick and tired.
Yeah, this is Bite Size Cobra, and he's aware of it. He's in our chat a lot when we replay his videos and comment on them. So I don't know. No. He's talking about Bite Size Cobra, the guy. So like, don't you have to go all the way back to King Cobra, the guy who he's reviewing? Sorry, Fireman John, you're just stupid as fuck. You think you're smart, but you're not. You're fucking dumb. I'm drunk. I'm high. I'm just hanging out doing my normal stream. You act like I'm supposed to impress you. I don't give a fuck. Fucking go jump in a fucking lake for all I care. That's fine. I'm boring, yet you're still here. So I don't know what that says about you, but you're fucking stupid as shit. I don't know. It's amusing.
Tired of people's obsession with me. I ain't gonna stunt. My name is not Ben.
Well, I was gonna say something else, but I decided jump in a lake is the thing that won't get me banned from YouTube.
Friskies classic salmon dinner cat food. Ha! That is hilarious. So one of my YouTube trolls sent me a bunch of free cat food. Like, oh, we got you, Cobra. We wasted our money to fucking troll you. Ha 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 ha. In fact, just to stick it to my YouTube trolls, instead of getting mad about my trolls sending me cat food through DoorDash because they think they're so clever, I'm going to turn it around on them and I'm going to eat this on camera just to stick it to my YouTube trolls. You want to see Cobra eat cat food on camera? This is ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh.
I tried one bite for y'all.
But then you eat the whole thing.
Friskies cat food. Meow, 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 meow. Here's some cat food.
I like how he smelled it before he put it in his mouth. Oh, shit.
I like this cap gun. This thing is cool. Well, what do you do? That's life. At least that screw ain't coming out. Oh, for fuck's sake! I was not, oh my fucking God, I was not waving a gun around. Can you people leave me the fuck alone, please? It's fine. Jesus fucking Christ.
This is like the famous moment when the cats, or when the cops came in.
I was not waving a fucking gun around, okay? I have a prop pistol I bought for Halloween last year, and it was falling
I will not eat cat food, by the way.
apart, so I was trying to fix it on camera. They're not my viewers, they're my fucking cocksucking YouTube trolls. I'm tired of them wasting you fine people's times. Alright, you too. I'm tired of the fucking cops being called on me. It's bullshit. I'm sorry, but this is bullshit, YouTube. Fuck my YouTube trolls. They couldn't get me with the fucking cat food, so they're like, I know, Cobra's waving around his fucking toy gun, trying to fucking fix it on YouTube, so let's fucking waste the cops' time. Fuck off! You happy? You got what you wanted! You know what pisses me off, YouTube? Wasting the cops' time. You want to bully Cobra? I'm used to it. I am fucking used to it. You sit there and fucking send me bullshit DoorDash orders, trying as hard as you can to get me to freak out on camera because you think it's funny to bully an autistic person. Viewers my ass. I'm sick and tired of the fucking Casper Police Department coming over here because of my fucking cocksucking fat YouTube trolls. I said several times in the video, it's not a real gun. It's fake. It's empty. And you still gotta pull this shit. Pussy ass motherfuckers! Oh, you think it's funny? You think it's funny watching an autistic freak out?
We watched this live, and then he ended the stream and made it private.
You think it's funny when it happens to you, dude? Straight the fuck up. Don't tell me to fucking chill the fuck out when you've been fucking harassed your
Bog Holiday
entire goddamn life and bullied by everyone and rejected by every chick you've liked since the 4th grade. Don't tell me to fucking chill the fuck out, you little pussy ass faggots. Oh, but no, we gotta call the cops on Cobra for waving a fake gun around. I'm tired of it. Stop wasting the cops' fucking precious time. They've got better things to do with their fucking life than sit here and fucking harass me and an autistic. Oh my God, dude.
The next day, Josh apologized for losing his temper and made an apology video.
I want to apologize for losing my temper.
No, John, this English guy that you were talking about earlier, whose content you were claiming I steal, stalks this guy, and then I stalk the English guy. Yeah, that's how it works.
Stream last night that was really uncalled for. What pissed me off last night was the fact that the cops keep coming over here and wasting their time. Now, I already know my fucking trolls are going to save that video and use it to make fun of me. It is what it is. People think it's funny to fuck with people with autism, but you don't see me laughing about it. It's not going to stop me from making videos or going live. Now, I might go live later because it is what it is. I like going live for my fans.
On September 15th, Josh lazily sold a single wand on Etsy for $148. On September 19th, Josh went live and drank his homemade mead 3 days early. Trolls of course DoorDashed Josh multiple times, but he ignored the knocking on his door until it could no longer be ignored.
Oh no! That is a cop knock.
People are going to keep knocking at my fucking door. Jesus Christ.
It's a cop knock.
Hold on. What are you up to?
People called us and you passed out on your live stream.
No, I didn't pass out on my live stream. I was ignoring people who are sending me.
He did pass out, by the way.
And not to give them a reaction.
You might come out and let me take a look at you real quick.
That's fine.
Thank you. So what are you doing? You're drinking some homemade beer?
Yeah, I'm making some homemade cheese. Like, oh yeah, we gotta be super fucked up towards Cobra because we hate his fucking videos. Over here like, whoa, yeehaw.
On September 22nd, Josh said that he needed to plan a visit to the dentist soon.
A teeth update. I am actually going to be going to the dentist. I got to schedule a dentist appointment. My teeth are pretty, Of course, in this light, they don't look that bad. If I got to get dentures, it is what it is. That's my own damn fault for not taking care of my damn teeth. Which I'm sure that'll be a delight for my YouTube trolls. Yeah, if I got a custom set of dentures that had like really sharp vampire teeth, that'd be pretty goth.
For the rest of the month, Josh
wants
just
vampire
obsessed
teeth
over his homemade
dentures.
mead, e-begged when he was in the negative, and rinse and repeat. Overall, September had a few noteworthy highlights, but they were overshadowed by Josh's new obsession with making this fucking mead. Because I'm autistic and kept track of this, September marked the
There you go.
first time in 9 months that Josh failed to upload both a fart video and a gender relations related video response.
Wow.
September was also a very successful month in regard to Josh's income. Josh received way over $3,000 in donations from his fans. This was the most money he had ever received in a single month on YouTube. What did Josh do with the money? What do you think he did with it? He pissed it away, obviously. Thank you very much for listening, and please stay tuned for the next recap.
Amazing. 3K for DoorDash is quite the industry in Casper. If you want to be a DoorDash driver, just move to Casper. That's all you need. Everybody, I'm going to leave in a moment here. Check out the Patreon link pinned above the chat. And chuck me a couple bucks if you would be so kind. I will see all of you on the next one. We're doing a DP tomorrow. I'll see you then. Good night. See you in the private show.